Hello everybody, my name is Abigail Thurman and I am honored to be the undergraduate student speaker for today. I'd like to start out by sharing my sincerest gratitude for everybody who has supported the class of 2022. First, to all of our nursing school faculty and staff, I want to thank all of you for the time, energy, and expertise you have put into making sure that we become safe, effective, and intellectually curious practicing nurses. I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly acknowledge our amazing professors in particular, some for their leadership, mentorship, and for inspiring us to think about healthcare implications beyond the bedside, others for working tirelessly to make their classroom and the world at large a more safe and welcoming place, and all of them for instilling in us the importance of working with integrity and compassion. Please know that you have not only succeeded in making an impact in our lives, but also in the lives of our future patients as well. To our family, friends, roommates, spouses, and all those here who have supported the individuals graduating today, success and accomplishment is not a one-person show, and truly none of us graduates would be sitting here without you. Y'all's support has put new BSN, MSN, and doctorally prepared nurses into a world that desperately needs nurses. So thank you so much. What a service y'all have done and an accomplishment on y'all's behalf today as well. I'd now like to speak to the class of 2022 directly. Hi y'all, it's me. A lot of y'all know me, so I don't have any advice to give on the stage right now, but what I do have is a little bit of reflection and a little bit of gratitude. When thinking about what I'd like to say during my speech, I reflected on my time at UT, the School of Nursing community, and the class of 2022 in particular. And 3 words describing our class came to my mind: brave, detail-oriented, and a little bit intense, all of which I have told makes amazing nurses. I say brave because we entered nursing school at a very unique time, having clinicals during the pandemic, learning to assess each other in full personal protective equipment, gowns, gloves, face shields, like the whole 9 yards, having to get creative on how to continue research with COVID and socially distancing protocols, navigating an at times volatile healthcare environment and world climate, and still choosing to be here, choosing to stay on this path because we believe in the righteousness of it. That's brave. As my very Texan mother would say, we're charging hell with a bucket of ice water. In this reflection on what has been a little bit of an unorthodox nursing school experience, I can't help but think back to something that one of my FIG mentors told me freshman year. FIG, F-I-G, stands for Freshman Year Interest Group, for those of you who are not aware. And if you were in that freshman year interest group with me, then you might remember this, but our mentor told us that we would need to get used to, quote, feeding each other if we were going to be successful in nursing school. And I remember thinking that this was a very strange thing to say, and I honestly imagined like feeding my peers a piece of cake or something of the sort, but I have found this sentiment of living and learning through the necessity of cohort support to be one of the most prophetic statements that has undoubtedly rang true throughout my education. While we were learning and stumbling and growing, we were also building a community, which is something to be proud of. I know that we've built a community because of the ways that we've shown up for each other. Late night studying together, sitting in stressed huddles before exams, preparing dissertation proposals, early clinical mornings. Seeing each other before the sun has risen with messy hair and sleepy eyes, that is just a breeding ground for camaraderie and friendship, truly. For me personally, I think of surprise baby showers, I think of the mini birthday celebrations in class, and I think of my cohort's group chat, which has probably saved me more times than I'd like to admit. In a healthcare system with dwindling resources, our greatest resource has been each other. And while we have formed micro communities within our class, within the undergraduate and graduate cohorts, that is not the only community that we belong to. We now also belong to a vast alumni system of the University of Texas at Austin. As an ending note to this effect, I'd like to tell a story about a patient that I took care of. And I promise that this story is totally true and not something that came out of a Hallmark movie. So while working as a patient care technician during the COVID pandemic, a job that many students have while working towards their RN license, I took care of an elderly man on a busy medical surgical floor. With an end-stage cancer diagnosis, among many other comorbidities, this man was very sick and had become sicker and weaker over the course of weeks in the hospital. As I took care of him, he became unable to speak or communicate, unable to leave his bed, and unable to eat or drink. I can still picture in my mind his lips, which had become so chapped and dry. So every shift I would apply lip moisturizer to his lips and wipe the inside of his mouth with a wet sponge to try and make him more comfortable. I could tell that he was grateful for the care he received because he'd always smile at me after I did this. But that smile was the only ounce of communication that I ever received from him. Towards the end, we weren't even really sure if he completely understood us. While taking care of him, I would talk to him and I would narrate the care that I gave, but after a while, I stopped getting any type of confirmatory response back. This man had 4 adult children who were simply amazing. They would rotate shifts so that almost always he had a family member at the bedside with him. Usually his children would sit and talk to him and reminisce about funny childhood memories, or sometimes they watched baseball together, which was his favorite sport to watch. After many weeks of caring for him, I came to know this patient and his family very well, and they discovered that I was a nursing student at the University of Texas School of Nursing. And his children exclaimed, "Oh, what a coincidence! Dad was a professor at UT for 30 years. And I, not expecting a response in return, said, "Wow, that's amazing. Hook 'em horns, sir." And then the man amazed us by wordlessly curling his fingers into the hook 'em horns sign that we all know so well, with a look of beaming pride on his hollowed face. I have never, to this day, had so much pride for my university as I did at that moment. That's what community means. That's the weight that saying that you are a UT nurse carries. It's a legacy of excellence, advocacy, compassion, and above all else, connection. This graduation is amazing not only because it's celebrating what we finished here and earning our degree, but it's also a celebration of the legacy that we now get to join. It's a celebration of our accomplishment, yes, but it's also a celebration of everything that we found, lost, created, grew out of, and learned to love along the way. I am so grateful for my nursing experience here at UT, and I am even more grateful that we got to do it together. Because the work that we've signed up to do, the work of nurses and nurse practitioners and nurse educators, nurse scientists and researchers, is hard work. It's brave work. And most acutely, it's important work. So that being said, let us go forth and continue to choose this path. Let us go forth and be the bringers of peace, comfort, and justice. Let us go forth and do good in a chaotic world. In a world that needs us. Thank you, everybody, and congratulations to the class of 2022. Hook 'em horns.